However, I believe a lot of this even goes along with what Jesus said in John chapter 8. You remember Jesus was talking to some Pharisees and they began to criticize him and ridicule him. But at a certain point in John chapter 8, the Bible tells us of some Jews that began to believe on him after he spoke certain things. And the Bible says that Jesus says in verse 31 through 32 of John 8, then said Jesus to those Jews which believed on him, if, everything hinges on that small two-letter word, if ye continue in my word. So here we have something that kind of goes right in line with what the Apostle John said in his letter, 1 John chapter 1 there in verses 5 through verses 7. Where Jesus is saying here, if you continue in my word, then are ye my disciples indeed. Of course, he goes on, and you'll know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. Now, these are just a few of many verses that we could bring out to kind of solidify this point that I'm trying to make here, that we cannot live any way that we want to live and expect to be forgiven and cleansed. As John clearly says in 1 John chapter 1, verses 6 through verses 7, if we walk in the light is his word. The light is the truth of his word. The light, in essence, is the Son of God himself. That's why he said, if you continue in my word, to those Jews which believed on him. Even in John 15, he told his disciples, if ye abide in me and my word abides in you. So everything hinges on our continuation in his word. In fact, the key of discipleship is continuation, continuing in his word. Now, I know many people possibly would look even at the very next verse in 1 John chapter 1, verse 8, where it says, if we say that we have no sin, we deceive ourselves and the truth is not in us. People would look at that to justify sin in their life. We're just a human. We have to live in sin after all. One of the keys to hermeneutics is also the cultural context of every single verse. When John was penning this epistle, we were not the original audience. John actually wrote this epistle by the inspiration of God to correct some false teachings. Apparently some of the believers of the local churches began to depart, began to walk away from the fellowship. Those people certainly had sin in their life. Therefore, John, by the inspiration of God, addressed the sin in those individuals' life. Has nothing to do with you and I living today in the 21st century. We are to live above sin, because why would we think that John would write something to give an out or